Question 1. Why should you never wave people across at pedestrian crossings? A. Another vehicle may be coming. If people are waiting to use a pedestrian crossing, slow down and be prepared to stop. Don't wave them across the road, because another driver may not have seen them, may not have seen your signal, and may not be able to stop safely. Question 2. What's the purpose of road humps, chicanes and narrowings? C. To reduce traffic speed. Traffic calming measures help to keep vehicle speeds low in congested areas where there are pedestrians and children. A pedestrian is much more likely to survive a collision with a vehicle traveling at 20 miles per hour than they are with a vehicle traveling at 40 miles per hour. Question 3. What requires extra care when you're driving or riding in windy conditions? B. Passing pedal cyclists. Always give cyclists plenty of room when overtaking them. You need to give them even more room when it's windy. A sudden gust could easily blow them off course and into your path. Question 4. How would age affect an older person's driving ability? D. They'll take longer to react to hazards. As people age, their reaction time gets slower. The rate of decline varies from person to person, but you can expect them to take longer to react to a hazard, and they may be hesitant in some situations, for example, at a junction. Question 5. Which sign means that there may be people walking along the road? D. Always check the road signs. Triangular signs are warning signs. They inform you about hazards ahead and help you to anticipate any problems. There are a number of different signs showing pedestrians. Learn the meaning of each one. Question 6. You're waiting to come out of a side road. Why should you look carefully for motorcycles? B. Motorcycles can easily be hidden behind obstructions. If you're waiting to emerge from a side road, look carefully for motorcycles. They can be difficult to see. Be especially careful if there are parked vehicles or other obstructions restricting your view. Question 7. What does this sign mean? D. Route for trams. Take extra care when you encounter trams. Look out for road markings and signs that alert you to them. Modern trams are very quiet and you may not hear them approaching. Question 8. What does this sign mean? C. Risk of ice. It will take up to 10 times longer to stop when it's icy. Where there's a risk of icy conditions, you need to be aware of this and take extra care. If you think the road may be icy, don't brake or steer harshly, as your tires could lose their grip on the road. Question 9. What does this sign mean? B. Give way to trams. Obey the give way signs. Trams are unable to steer around you if you misjudge when it's safe to enter the junction. Question 10. What does a red traffic light mean? C. You must stop and wait behind the stop line. Whatever light is showing, you should know which light is going to appear next and be able to take appropriate action. For example, when amber is showing on its own, you'll know that red will appear next. This should give you ample time to anticipate and respond safely. Question 11. What's the purpose of a catalytic converter? C. To reduce harmful exhaust gases. Catalytic converters reduce a large percentage of harmful exhaust emissions. They work more efficiently when the engine has reached its normal working temperature. Question 12. What color are the reflective studs along the left-hand edge of the motorway? C. Red. Reflective studs are used to help you in poor visibility. Different colors are used so that you'll know which lane you're in. These are, red on the left-hand edge of the carriageway, white between lanes, amber on the right-hand edge of the carriageway, green between the carriageway and slip roads. Question 13. What must you do when you're overtaking a car at night? B. Make sure you don't dazzle other road users. To prevent your headlights from dazzling the driver of the car in front, wait until you've passed them before switching to main beam. Question 14. You've just gone through flood water. What should you do to make sure your brakes are working properly? C. Go slowly while gently applying the brakes. Water on the brakes will act as a lubricant, causing them to work less efficiently. Using the brakes lightly as you go along will quickly dry them out. Question 15. When should you flash your headlights at other road users? A. When letting them know that you're there. You should only flash your headlights to warn others of your presence. Don't use them to greet others, show impatience or give priority to other road users, because they could misunderstand your signal. Question 16. You're following a slower moving vehicle. What should you do if there's a junction just ahead on the right? B. Only consider overtaking when you're past the junction. You should never overtake as you approach a junction. If a vehicle emerged from the junction while you were overtaking, a dangerous situation could develop very quickly. Question 17. What does this sign mean? A. Quayside or riverbank. You should be careful in these locations, as the road surface is likely to be wet and slippery. There may be a steep drop to the water, and there may not be a barrier along the edge of the road. Question 18. You're parked on the road at night. When must you use parking lights? A. when the speed limit exceeds 30 miles per hour. When parking at night, park in the direction of the traffic. This will enable other road users to see the reflectors on the rear of your vehicle. Use your parking lights if the speed limit is over 30 miles per hour. Question 19. What should you do when you're approaching roadworks on a motorway? B. Obey the speed limit. Be aware of reduced speed limits at roadworks. Speed limits shown inside a red circle are mandatory and cameras are often used to enforce the reduced limit. Slow down in good time and keep your distance from the vehicle in front. Question 20. What should you do if the left-hand pavement is closed due to street repairs? D. Watch out for pedestrians walking in the road. Where street repairs have closed off pavements, proceed carefully and slowly, as pedestrians might have to walk in the road. Question 21. What should you do immediately after joining a motorway? C. Stay in the left-hand lane. When you've just joined a motorway, stay in the left-hand lane long enough to get used to the higher speeds of motorway traffic before considering overtaking. Question 22. Which sign shows that you're entering a one-way system? B. If the road has two lanes, you can use either lane and overtake on either side. Use the lane that's more convenient for your destination unless signs or road markings indicate otherwise. Question 23. What does this sign mean? D. With flow bus and cycle lane. Buses and cycles can travel in this lane. In this example, they'll flow in the same direction as other traffic. If it's busy, they may be passing you on the left, so watch out for them. Times on the sign will show the lane's hours of operation. If no times are shown, or there's no sign at all, this means the lane is in operation 24 hours a day. In some areas, other vehicles, such as taxis and motorcycles, are allowed to use bus lanes. The sign will show if this is the case. Question 24. What should you do if you see a large box fall from a lorry onto the motorway? B. Go to the next emergency telephone and report the hazard. Lorry drivers can be unaware of objects falling from their vehicles. If you see something fall onto a motorway, look to see if the driver pulls over. If they don't stop, don't attempt to retrieve the object yourself. Question 25. You're about to overtake a cyclist. Why should you leave them as much room as you would give to a car? A. The cyclist might be unsettled if you pass too near them. Before overtaking, assess the situation. Look well ahead to see whether the cyclist will need to change direction. Be especially aware of a cyclist approaching parked vehicles, as they'll need to alter course. Question 26. You're the first person to arrive at an incident where people are badly injured. You've switched on your hazard warning lights and checked all engines are stopped. What else? A. Make sure that an ambulance has been called. If you're the first to arrive at a crash scene, the first concerns are the risk of further collision and fire. Ensuring that vehicle engines are switched off will reduce the risk of fire. Use hazard warning lights so that other traffic knows there's a need for caution. Make sure the emergency services are contacted, don't assume it's already been done. Question 27. Which document may the police ask you to produce after you've been involved in a collision? A. Your driving license. You must stop if you've been involved in a collision that results in injury or damage. The police may ask to see your driving license and insurance details at the time or later at a police station. Question 28. You've just passed your driving test. How can you reduce your risk of being involved in a collision? D. By taking further training. New drivers and riders are often involved in a collision or incident early in their driving career. Due to a lack of experience, they may not react to hazards appropriately. Approved training courses are offered by driver and rider training schools for people who have passed their test but want extra training. Question 29. Why should you switch your headlights on when it first starts to get dark? B. So others can see you more easily. Your headlights and tail lights help others on the road to see you. It may be necessary to turn on your headlights during the day if visibility is reduced, for example, due to heavy rain. In these conditions, the light might fade before the street lights are timed to switch on. Be seen to be safe. Question 30. You're waiting in a traffic queue at night. How can you avoid dazzling drivers behind you? D. Use the parking brake and release the foot brake. In queuing traffic, your brake lights can dazzle drivers behind you. If you apply your parking brake, you can take your foot off the foot brake. This will turn off the brake lights so that they can't dazzle the driver behind you. Question 31. You're driving in traffic at the speed limit for the road. What should you do if the driver behind is trying to overtake? B. Keep a steady course and allow the driver behind to overtake. Keep a steady course to give the driver behind an opportunity to overtake safely. If necessary, slow down. Reacting incorrectly to another driver's impatience can lead to danger. Question 32. How will a roof rack affect your car? A. Fuel consumption will increase. A roof rack increases your car's wind resistance. This will cause an increase in fuel consumption, so you should remove it when it isn't being used. An aerodynamically designed roof rack or box will help reduce wind resistance to a minimum, but the rack or box should still be removed when it isn't in use. Question 33. You're about to go down a steep hill. What should you do to control the speed of your vehicle? D. Select a low gear and use the brakes carefully. When driving down a steep hill, gravity will cause your vehicle to speed up. This will make it more difficult for you to stop. To help keep your vehicle's speed under control, Select a lower gear to give you more engine braking and make careful use of the brakes. Question 34. What does the solid white line at the side of the road indicate? B. Edge of the carriageway. The continuous white line shows the edge of the carriageway. It can be especially useful when visibility is restricted, such as at night or in bad weather. It's discontinued in some places, for example, at junctions, lay-bys, entrances or other openings. Question 35. What should you do if you're driving on a motorway and you miss the exit that you wanted to take? C. Carry on to the next exit. It's illegal to reverse, cross the central reservation or drive against the traffic flow on a motorway. If you miss your exit, carry on until you reach the next one. Ask yourself why you missed your exit. If you think that your concentration is fading, take a break before continuing your journey. Question 36. When may you drive without wearing your seatbelt? A. When you're carrying out a maneuver that includes reversing. You may remove your seatbelt while you're carrying out a maneuver that includes reversing. However, you must remember to put it back on again before you resume driving. Question 37. You're carrying two 13-year-old children and their parents in your car. Who's responsible for seeing that the children wear seat belts? D. You, the driver. Seat belts save lives and reduce the risk of injury. If you're carrying passengers under 14 years old, it's your responsibility as the driver to ensure that their seat belts are fastened or they're seated in an approved child restraint. Question 38. Why is it particularly important to check your vehicle before making a long motorway journey? A. Continuous high speeds increase the risk of your vehicle breaking down. Before you start your journey, make sure that your vehicle can cope with the demands of high-speed driving. You should check a number of things, the main ones being fuel, oil, water and tires. You also need to plan rest stops if you're making a long journey. Question 39. Who's responsible for making sure that a vehicle isn't overloaded? A. The driver of the vehicle. Carrying heavy loads will affect control and the vehicle's handling characteristics. If the vehicle you're driving is overloaded, you'll be held responsible. Question 40. Which instrument panel warning light would show that headlights are on main beam? A. You should be aware of all the warning lights and visual aids on the vehicle you're driving. If you're driving a vehicle for the first time, you should familiarize yourself with all the controls, warning lights and visual aids before you set off. Question 41. When could the cost of your insurance be reduced? A. When you complete the Pass Plus scheme. The cost of insurance varies with your age and how long you've been driving. Usually, the younger you are, the the more expensive it is, especially if you're under 25. Pass Plus provides additional training to newly qualified drivers. The scheme is recognized by many insurance companies, and taking this extra training could give you reduced insurance premiums, as well as improving your skills and experience. Question 42. What does the term blind spot mean? D. An area not visible to the driver. Modern vehicles provide the driver with a good view of both the road ahead and behind using well-positioned mirrors. However, the mirrors can't see every angle of the scene behind and to the sides of the vehicle. It's essential that you know when and how to check the vehicle's blind spots, so that you're aware of any hidden hazards. Question 43. When should you leave a 2-second gap between your vehicle and the one in front? A. When it's dry. In good, dry conditions, a driver needs to keep a distance of at least 2 seconds from the car in front. This should allow enough space for you to stop if the driver in front has to stop suddenly. Question 44. How can you use your vehicle's engine as a brake? B. By changing to a lower gear. When driving on downhill stretches of road, selecting a lower gear gives increased engine braking. This will prevent excessive use of the brakes, which become less effective if they overheat. Question 45. In order to supervise a learner driver, you need to have held a full driving license for the same category of vehicle for at least 3 years. What other requirement must you meet? B. To be at least 21 years old. Learner drivers benefit by combining professional driving lessons with private practice. However, you need to be at least 21 years old and have held your driving license for at least 3 years before you can supervise a learner driver. Question 46. What's the legal minimum insurance cover you must have to drive on public roads? C. Third party only. The minimum insurance required by law is third party cover. This covers your liability to others involved in a collision but not damage to your vehicle. Basic third party insurance also won't cover theft or fire damage. Ask your insurance company for advice on the best cover for you and make sure that you read the policy carefully. Question 47. What should you do if your vehicle catches fire while you're driving through a tunnel? A. Drive it out of the tunnel if it's safe to do so. If it's possible, and you can do so without causing further danger, it may be safer to drive a vehicle that's on fire out of a tunnel. The greatest danger in a tunnel fire is smoke and suffocation. Question 48. What style of driving causes increased risk to everyone? A. Competitive. Competitive driving increases the risks to everyone and is the opposite of responsible, considerate and defensive driving. Defensive driving is about questioning the actions of other road users and being prepared for the unexpected. Question 49. You're waiting to emerge at a junction. Your view is restricted by parked vehicles. What can help you to see traffic on the road you're joining? D. Reflections of traffic in windows. You must be completely sure it's safe to emerge. Try to look for traffic through the windows of the parked cars or in the reflections in windows. Keep looking in all directions as you slowly edge forwards until you can see it's safe. Question 50. You want to put a rear-facing baby seat on the front passenger seat. What must you do if the passenger seat is protected by a frontal airbag? B. Deactivate the airbag. It's illegal to fit a rear-facing baby seat into a passenger seat protected by an active frontal airbag. If the airbag activates, it could cause serious injury or even death to the child. You must secure it in a different seat or deactivate the relevant airbag. Follow the manufacturer's advice when fitting a baby seat. If you learn DVSA theory test in proper way, you can download Theory Test app from the App Store, link in the description. Thanks for watching the video.